Am I the asshole for shaming my sister for being pregnant and refusing to help her at all with any expenses? Am I the asshole? I, 24F, have a twin sister, Ashley, and we've always been close. She started dating this guy a year ago, Jared, 32M. I never really liked him, but my sister was head over heels in love with him and said she wanted to marry him. This summer I was at the grocery store when a woman with 3 kids came up to me in the aisle and asked if I was Ashley. I said no and was about to say we're twins when she cut me off and said, "Yes you are. You're dating my deadbeat baby daddy and want to stalk my pages, leaving hate messages saying he chose you over us and to move on. How heartless are you?" I was like, what the fuck, I am not Ashley, I'm her twin sister, Blair, and asked if she was talking about Jared. She said yes, and showed me the screenshots of my sister DMing her saying Jared is now hers, he doesn't claim those kids, blah blah. I was very uncomfortable, but I knew in my gut he was a weirdo. I was so shocked my sister would date a deadbeat, and proudly knowing how our father being a deadbeat sent us both to therapy. I just walked away. A few days later I asked my sister and she denied it at first, then admitted it, saying she didn't tell me he has kids since I personally don't date men with kids and she didn't want me to judge her. I told her I was judging the fact that he's a deadbeat, not a father. We argued about it a lot and I've looked at her differently since. Anyways, this week she invites me over and her and Jared tell me she's pregnant and are both so happy. I just sit there silently and kept eating. She asked why I was acting like a bitch and why aren't I happy to be an aunt, and I said because of gestures towards Jared. He got mad and said, "What's your problem with me?" And I said, "Because you're a deadbeat." They both got quiet and he said, "That doesn't mean I'll be one for this kid." At that point I laughed and got up to leave. I'm in the hallway on the way to the elevator when my sister comes running behind me and keeps asking why I'm being so rude while she's sobbing. I told her that should be ashamed to be pregnant by a guy that abandoned his other kids knowing that happened to us, and that she's disgusting and a loser and he's gonna leave her like he did his ex. She said I don't know the full story and she can't believe I would be not supportive in this time of her life, and the baby has half my DNA too. I felt bad and said I would try to be there for her, but she'll realize what a mistake she made, then I left. Now she's texting me saying she wants to come back and apologize to Jared, and I refused, and she said that she doesn't want to speak to me if I don't apologize to them. Am I the asshole? Info. When did your sister ask you to help with her expenses? That's the question in your title, but there isn't anything about it in the post. Your sister is no better than her deadbeat baby daddy, harassing a poor woman with 2 kids. Not the asshole. Some people have to learn hard lessons on their own. You did what you could, now she has to live with the consequences. I get that by being a twin, it might be harder to stand by and watch. However, you gave her the proverbial kick in the butt. It's all on her now. Who knows, we may all be surprised by the outcome, but be prepared when she starts her apology tour. Not the asshole. But what no one's even mentioning is how the sister treated the other woman on top of everything else. She's stalking the other woman, sending hate messages and telling her how he's her man now. What a complete shitty human being her sister is, knowing that she's screwing over innocent children, not that this guy isn't a deadbeat. And then she defends this parasite but has the nerve to ask her sister for money? The audacity is mind-boggling. Personally, I would have nothing to do with her. FFFs. Her sister thinks Op owes this deadbeat loser an apology. Not the asshole. Your encounter with his family told you what you needed to know about a guy who already gave you the ick. Your sister is very foolish and capable of being cruel. I would encourage you to let go of your anger over her poor decisions and get ready to support her in the long run. I know you will want to be there for your future niece, nephew. So give yourself time to grieve and be angry. And then move on. Hopefully you can still be there for your sister and future nibbling. Best wishes. Not the asshole. This is just like kids of alcoholics. They either hate drinking or grow up and become an alcoholic themselves. Unfortunately, your sister is morally bankrupt just like your dad. Bad enough to take up with a deadbeat, but to harass his abandoned partner is unforgivable. You're right to be disgusted with her. I'm sure you'll get an opportunity to know her kid, if you want to, once her baby daddy takes off and she needs help. Am I the asshole for refusing to help get my stepdaughters to their newest extracurricular activity? My husband has 2 daughters, 13 and 12, with his ex-wife. They have been divorced for almost 11 years and we have been married for 7 years and shared 2 kids together, ages 6 and 3. His ex-wife is not currently remarried, but she did marry twice since the divorce and has 2 additional children, ages 9 and 5. The co-parenting relationship is very unstable and changeable. Some decisions need to be made via mediation. Others they can agree on to a point, while a few were taken to court for a judge to decide it for them. My relationship with my stepdaughters was good until 3 years ago when their mom's negativity changed how they treat me. They have expressed that they know their mom doesn't like me, so they won't like me anymore either. This has been discussed in court and in therapy and nothing has changed. They continue to treat me differently than before. They don't get away with disrespect but they still are way more than before and they're colder with me in general. Now onto the issue where I want to know if I'm ta. My husband and I are typically really good about communicating and he is a supportive husband and father and has done a good job of keeping me out of his ex-wife's way so she can't say crap to me and also standing up for me. I don't join them for talks about the girls. That's him and his ex but my husband and I will discuss it. A few months ago the girls said they wanted to take new dance classes 50 minutes from our home. They already do ballet, dancing for fun, which is free, and gymnastics. But these dance classes are different. They're also more expensive than the other extracurriculars they do. I told my husband I thought the new dance classes were too far and too expensive and I said they would not work with the schedule we already have. But when he and his ex sat down to discuss it he agreed to these new dance classes which he and his ex will split 50-50. When he told me I wasn't thrilled, because he didn't tell me he was going to agree to them. But I know it's not my decision. But I told him I could not and would not help get the girls there. He told me we'd figure something out. The girls were back with us 2 days after this talk and they said their mom told them I didn't want them to do these dance classes and sucks to be me because I don't have a say because I'm not their parent. My husband told them not to speak to me like that. He was unable to get his parents to take the girls to the new classes so he wanted me to do it. I put my foot down and said no. He said he can't because he has to work. I told him I had to drop our 6-year-old off at his extracurricular that day and it would not work with time. My husband asked his ex if she'd bring them every week and she's saying I'm such an asshole for not driving them and how dare I think I get any say in this. That I need to do what the kids want and stay out of their way otherwise. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You defend your husband but he's part of the problem. 1. Your husband should have never told his ex-kids that you thought negatively of the class, especially without the context that it's too difficult for them to get there. 2. Your husband clearly didn't hear you when you said you wouldn't take them. 3. You don't have to be part of hubby X's conversation but then hubby X cannot make you part of the plan. 4. Tell hubby that your conversations with him need to be confidential. 5. Tell hubby X, girls that the girls cannot disrespect you and then think they can have their hand out for anything other than the meals you cook at home. Not the asshole, you're not part of the plan, so your help is unnecessary. You have your own children to worry about. Mom wants to continue to advocate for hate, then literally just do what duties need to be done when they are physically in your home. Feed them and make sure they have water and electricity. That's it. Dad also needs to buck the fuck up and remind his ex that if she wants her kids to hate you, you're not doing the extra. He can fight with her about the kids but not about respecting you? Almost sounds like you don't need him either. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. Not the asshole. Blended families are hard work and it's a two-way street. Those girls don't respect you but want your help. That would be a big no from me. Not the asshole. They, husband and his ex, don't involve you directly in the decision making, so they can't make demands or assumptions after the fact. 50 minutes one way to a class is way too long and you are right to say no. Not the asshole. You are not part of the decision and it's not your job to handle their activities. Your husband and his ex should figure it out. It's fair to set boundaries, especially with the disrespect. Absolutely not the asshole. The ex is vindictive and looks to get petty victories over you, regardless of the cost on her children. Frankly, they agreed to the classes, against your urging and warning, so they have the duty to work out the logistics. In the same way you aren't their mother or even a maternal figure. Due to the ex, you do not have the responsibility to do what a mother would do. It doesn't seem unlikely that the class and its location were deliberately chosen to either make you the bad guy or to cause the most disruption to your schedule and life. I'd be interested if you did a quick search to see if there were any local studios that could fit the bill. Your husband need to find the resolution and not expect you to do everything for him. Am I the asshole for favoring my nephews over my GF sisters who live with us? I, 31M, inherited my parents' house and became the guardian of my two nephews, 16M and 12M, about 7 years ago. Before he died, my dad was in the middle of renovating the basement for each nephew to have a large bedroom with their own bathroom. To honor my dad, I finished the renovation and each of my nephews have their own room and bathroom with the specs my dad had made. He was an architect. About this time, I graduated from law school. I was having a tough time finding a job, so I decided to start my own firm. It has worked out very well for me financially. So, I get to spoil my nephews a fair bit. But they are good kids, respectful, courteous, and great students. 3 years ago, I met a woman. Her family is a train wreck. She has no relationship with extended family because they were involved in this extremely conservative religious church cult. Her parents escaped, but are not equipped at parenting. They had 5 daughters, my girlfriend, 26F, and her sisters, 16F. 14F, 10F, 8F. My girlfriend and I talked about moving in together and did so 2 years ago. A little over a year ago, she approached me about moving in her sisters. Her parents are still the legal parents of the sisters, but they cannot hold down jobs, etc. My nephews and I discussed about the sisters moving in. They agreed, but only if they get their rooms and bathrooms. I said, absolutely, and told my GF. This meant the 4 sisters would share 2 small bedrooms and a small bathroom. The living arrangement has been rough. The girls are on top of each other and constantly bickering. My girlfriend has asked if we could have 2 of her sisters share one of the basement bathrooms. I said, no, my girlfriend makes less than a tenth of what I do. My girlfriend and I split groceries and utilities, but I pay for all the other shared expenses. Other than paying for standard living expenses, I do not pay for many things for the girls. My perspective is that is for their parents and or my girlfriend to do. I do buy things for my nephews like concert tickets, video game systems, movie tickets, etc. This came to a head recently because my oldest nephew and GF's oldest sister have birthdays only about a month apart. For GF's sister's 16th birthday, I bought her some makeup and a nice purse. It was about $100 total. My nephew wanted to take his girlfriend to a Taylor Swift concert. I got him 2 concert tickets to go in about a month. I also bought him a car. My GF's sister felt some type of way. She is a Swiftie and hates my nephew's girlfriend. They go to the same school. After his birthday, my girlfriend called me an AH. She said she was tired of me favoring my nephews and it needs to change. I told her that my nephews are my responsibility, her sisters are not. I bought her sister a nice gift, but I am not going to treat them like my nephews. Friend group is divided, so trying to get perspective here. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, but you are being taken advantage of here. For more than a year, you provided free housing to 4 children who are related to your GF, and she thinks you should be buying them all comparable gifts to the ones you buy for the 2 children under your guardianship. Help your girlfriend find a separate place for her and her sisters to live. She's going to keep pushing to take up more space, literally and figuratively, for her family's needs even at the expense of your nephew's well-being the longer you allow them to stay in your house. You need a very clear divide between your home life, your romantic relationship with her, and your willingness to be a supportive boyfriend while she handles the familial, emotional and financial responsibilities she's chosen to take on. You never agreed to parent her sisters or fund her household. Her acting like you owe her sisters a lifestyle comparable to what you provide for your nephews is a very bad sign. Get all of them out of you and your nephew's home as quickly as possible. She moved 4 of her sister into your house. She's asking your nephews to give up their space. She's telling you need to treat her sisters the same as your nephews and buy them the same things. She's taking you for a ride mate. You do know she's with you for your money? If she hasn't made that plain by now, she sees you as a ticket to get away from her loser family. Your nephews are, for all intents and purposes, your kids. Of course you spend more money on them. The girls are not your responsibility as you're neither bro-in-law or parent. Take a good long look at this situation. I think you should send the girls back home and tell the girlfriend she's on thin ice. Because those boys are your priority. Listen, it's fine you have a girlfriend, but this is not the one for you. You need someone much more supportive and independent, and not rush the move-in process. Not the asshole, unless you don't change things. Literally 8 people in this house and the oldest is 31 responsible for a bunch of kids. I can't believe this turned into a dumpster fire. You honestly need to explain why you and your girlfriend thought this wasn't going to be damaging to these kids. You have 4 girls living like second-class citizens watching the 2 boys have the world handed to them and you didn't think this would be an issue? No, you aren't responsible for taking care of her sisters, but did you honestly think a teenager was going to understand why her living conditions are so bad and why someone gets a Taylor Swift tickets and a car for their birthday and she gets a bag? You and your girlfriend playing house with all these kids is going to have some serious damage to these teenagers. This situation is fucked. You need to have a conversation with her and lay it all out. Your responsibility is to your nephews and them only. You're only helping your sisters out but not financially, and if she can't agree then this isn't going to work. I feel like you're definitely being used and there will be way more to come. Soon it will be they need a car of their own, or they need their schooling paid for. Etc. etc. Not the asshole, but watch yourself. Am I the asshole for telling me neighbor I cannot babysit her child? My neighbor keeps expecting me to take her kid off her hands at the most inconvenient times and at very short notice. She doesn't want to be a mom and is a bit of an older one who seems stuck with a 4-year-old she can't handle. The kid is spoiled and won't take no for an answer. She doesn't ask, she just sends him out of the house when she sees me outside and then leaves him with me. It's gotten so bad, they both walk through my door if they knock and I don't open it and if it's unlocked from the inside. I've had to tell her I don't like that and she will still do it here and there to leave stuff on my kitchen counter. Last week, she feigned a migraine that turned into a concussion and called the ambulance. The medics said she was alright and didn't need to go to the hospital, but she insisted. Then told me how I was to care for her child for the rest of the evening and get him ready in the morning to drop him to kindy, and walked out the house, the child wailing. Yesterday, I was 2 days out of an experience, to say the least, and she asked if I could feed the kid dinner because she just couldn't be bothered as I was heading out the house, and I said no. She gave me a stern look and walked back inside, saying she is always there to help others but others don't want to help her. Am I the asshole for refusing to take her kid off her as and when she pleases, or is it me that must be understanding here? Not the asshole. This woman is taking advantage of you, and the more you let her, the more she will do it. You wouldn't be an asshole for occasionally agreeing to help if you want to, but honestly, I predict that will end poorly. This woman obviously has no respect for boundaries. Given that she drops and runs, you may need to warn her that next time you will call 911 and report an abandoned child. Seriously, what she's doing is that not okay. Not the asshole. You need to tell your neighbor you are not available to watch her child, and if she sends them over you will call the authorities and advise them the child has been abandoned. Sometimes you need to play hardball. She's a lazy, disengaged parent. Not the asshole. This is not your child and not your responsibility. She is pulling the whole walk in and drop the kid off to try to keep you so off balance and don't have a chance to say no. She is using you and giving you nothing in return. The fact that she is a mother and may need help or whatever is not your responsibility. It is hers, and she needs to step up to the plate. As far as her saying that she is always there to help others, it doesn't seem like she has done anything to help you. Maybe you should call in a marker or two with her and see how she responds. I'd bet, even before you turned her down, she would give all sorts of excuses why she would not be able to help. Tell the woman that the next time this happens, you will report the child as abandoned. Then do it. She won't stop until you do. Maybe not even then. Not the asshole. It's sad how hard it is for people to say, no. I'm glad you finally did. Please do it more. Set a boundary. That boundary can be whatever you feel comfortable with. It could just be, never. Maybe it's, no more than once a week per month. Maybe it's, only if I'm given at least 1 day's notice. Maybe, I'm fine with you asking, but if you complain when I say no, then I won't babysit again for X amount of time. Oh, and please start locking your doors. Not the asshole. Change your locks and call the police the next time they trespass and enter your home. This woman is trouble and don't permit her bullying you. You should also contact social services about this neglected child. Are your neighbors aware of this? Witnessed any of these incidents? You don't owe this woman absolutely anything.